Exploring deep inside a cave, a man is horrified to discover that there seems to be some kind of entity that doesn't belong to this dimension. This bizarre creature has actually contaminated the dimension, triggering a mimetic pollution across the plane of existence. But just as he is about to back out of the cave, those eerie entities lock their eyes right on him. Today, I'm bringing you the mockumentary film Tribe. It turns out that a race of prophets capable of transcending dimensional boundaries exists among humans, ruling over mankind and controlling the very development of our civilization. Since the film is shot in a non-linear flashback style, I will rearrange the sequence of events to make the plot easier for you to follow. The story kicks off with a video recording. A strange man stands before the camera, incoherently rambling about his terrifying ordeal. An eerie black marking stretches across his face, seemingly harboring some sort of dark power that covers half his visage and has even corrupted his eyeball. Under the influence of this bizarre mark, his brain function is severely disrupted, causing chunks of his memory to completely vanish. He records this video solely to document his harrowing experience deep within the mountain range before everything slips away. The man's name is Devin, an independent content creator, and the reason he ends up trapped in the depths of the mountains all traces back to a mysterious cassette tape from a few months ago. One day, while Devin is shooting content for his channel as usual, his ex-wife Kate suddenly shows up, claiming she is dropping by to deliver some items on her way. It turns out to be this specific cassette tape that their close friend Charlie asks her to hand over to him. Just a few months prior, Charlie abruptly unalives himself at home for unknown reasons, leading Devin to assume this is merely a keepsake Charlie leaves behind for him. However, when Devin pops the tape into his computer, he is shocked to discover that this isn't some parting gift Charlie prepares for him, but rather a recording from decades ago. Flashing back to 1992, Charlie is still just a young guy in his early 20s. Back then, whenever Charlie, Devin, and Alex get bored, they always hang out to drink and shoot the breeze. That evening, Charlie suddenly brings up a deep topic regarding human civilization. Reasoning from the perspective of the theory of evolution, human civilization already spans millions of years of history on Earth. Yet, it isn't until modern times that we finally evolve enough intelligence to kickstart technological development. But analyzing this from an evolutionary standpoint, this anomaly goes completely against common sense, which is why a higher intelligent civilization theory emerges within the scientific community.
Theory that says our evolution was basically tied to another advanced or intelligent species.
Like aliens? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Or, another species kind of like us, intelligent, that evolved and then died out millions of years ago.
Watching his friends talk passionately in the old footage, Devin feels as if he has stepped right back into the past from decades ago. But just as he is completely immersed in these memories, Charlie suddenly mentions a miraculous church. His father is a devout follower of this church, but they don't worship Jesus or Allah. Instead, they revere a completely different kind of deity. Although Charlie's analysis sounds quite plausible, Devin, who strictly adheres to materialism, doesn't buy into this perspective at all. In his eyes, these so-called higher deities are nothing more than elaborate lies fabricated by cult organizations to brainwash and control their followers, as there are absolutely no gods in this world. And that is where the first videotape comes to an end. Seeing the topic his late friend discusses in the recording, Devin thinks this makes excellent content, so he plans to film a video centered on their old conversation and upload it to his channel. He reaches out to Kate, wanting to check if the church Charlie talks about back then still exists. But Kate isn't too clear either, only recalling that it is called the Church of Heavenly Light, and that Charlie is somewhat obsessed with it. To see if there are any clues recorded on the other tapes, Devin pops in the second cassette. The footage this time around is still from a certain gathering back in '92, but Devin isn't present at the scene back then. Charlie is seen discussing with his mother about going on a camping trip upon graduation, but halfway through the tape, the footage suddenly cuts to a certain mountain range. Right below the peak of the mountain, a white shipping container appears, and a man inside is holding a camera, filming something through a gap in the structure. Before Devin can catch a clear glimpse of whatever is writhing on the ground, the screen abruptly cuts away yet again. The timeline of the tape then transitions to the moment they graduate from college. To celebrate their graduation, Charlie, Devin, and the rest of the crew head up to a mountain peak to camp. every single one of them is filled with bright aspirations for their future lives. However, while stepping away to use the restroom midway through, Charlie captures some incredibly eerie footage right behind the campsite. Staring at the unidentified creature appearing on the screen, both Kate and Devin, sitting in front of the TV, are startled out of their wits. During that trip years ago, they are all right there on site, yet Charlie never utters a single word about this incident. Driven to uncover what that eerie black shadow in Charlie's tape actually is, Devin decides to journey to the Cuyamaca Mountains, where they held their graduation camping trip. After a series of twists and turns, he quickly arrives at the foot of the mountain. While halfway up the slope, Devin utilizes his camera to document the exact reasons why the group chose to camp here in the first place. As it turns out, Charlie's father was a member of that church. When Charlie is 10 years old, his father brings him along to camp near this mountain range, but Charlie ends up getting separated from the group. Fortunately, the area is a popular tourist spot filled with backpackers, and a kind-hearted tourist helps call the police. However, by the time the police locate Charlie's father, they discover that he is crushed under several collapsed boulders, having already drawn his final breath long ago. The young Charlie is subsequently sent away to a foster family. To pay tribute to Charlie's late father, that is exactly why they select this specific spot for their camping trip back then. While on the mountainside, Devin spots the exact shipping container featured in the video recording. There are absolutely no signs of dragging around the perimeter, indicating that this shipping container has been stationed here for a very long time. He wants to step inside to investigate, but the heavy steel doors on both ends of the container are securely locked shut. Because darkness is falling fast and he doesn't bring any lock-picking tools, Devin has no choice but to set up camp right next to the shipping container. To ensure he captures any potential footage, he goes ahead and installs 2 security cameras near the container. Exhausted and completely drained after a long day of traveling, Devin undergoes a quick wash and retreats to his RV to fall into a deep slumber. However, right in the dead of night, during the early morning hours, the cameras manage to record some incredibly unsettling footage. By the time Devin opens his eyes again, it is already the next morning. Just as he is about to check whether he captured any useful recordings from yesterday, he notices that the cameras are completely gone. Fortunately, the cameras are connected to the cloud, meaning the recorded footage uploads automatically in real time. He boots up his laptop to track down where the cameras went, but the moment he opens up the video file, he is completely terrified by the captured imagery. After the camera triggers on an anomaly in the frame, a humanoid creature creeps directly into view. The bizarre creature then drags the camera straight into the shipping container, after which the signal cuts out and the footage is completely lost. Staring blankly at the eerie creature on his screen, Devin senses that things are taking a seriously wrong turn. He reaches out to his close friend Malcolm, who works as an anthropologist at the Southern California Institute of Technology. However, after reviewing the video clip, Malcolm contends that this isn't some sort of monster, but rather a regular human being. He theorizes that the person captured in the video might simply be severely disfigured due to some past accident. Processing Malcolm's breakdown of the situation, Devin feels that his reasoning actually makes a lot of sense. After wrapping up the video call, Devin prepares to head down the mountain to pick up some lock-picking tools. But right as he is about to depart, he turns around only to see that the steel door at the back of the shipping container is wide open. Thinking back to the incident from last night, he deduces that whoever swiped the cameras must have unlocked the door. Could it be that the intruder from last night never actually left? Filled with suspicion, he steps into the mysterious interior of the shipping container. The moment he walks in, Devin spots a crude desk with a notebook completely covered in handwritten scribbles sitting right on top. He flips through a few pages, only to discover that the book is packed with bizarre symbols and complex formulas that make absolutely no sense to him. The sudden sight startles Devin, who grabs his notes and hurriedly leaves the shipping container. Immediately upon returning to his RV, Devin forwards the formulas from the notebook to his close friend Sean, who happens to be a brilliant mathematician with a deep understanding of such equations. After studying them for a while, Sean discovers that these numbers are not formulas at all, but rather 4 sets of geographic coordinates that correspond to 4 distinct mountain ranges across Arizona, California, Utah, and Wisconsin. As for what exactly connects these 4 locations, Sean is also left completely in the dark. However, he manages to spot a specific passage written in one section of the notebook. Learning that the notebook is actually linked to the cult church catches Devin completely off guard, making him wonder if Charlie is trying to pass along some hidden message through these videotapes. Right at that moment, a loud, violent thud echoes from the shipping container outside. Devin quickly grabs his camera and rushes back over to the side of the shipping container. But just as he swings the steel door open, a dark shadow suddenly darts straight out of the darkness. By the time Devin turns around to look, the mysterious shadow has already vanished without a trace. While he initially assumes that some wild animal must have sneaked inside the container, he catches sight of something chilling standing off to the side the moment he turns back around. This horrifying sight scares Devin half to death. Fortunately, the monstrous entity does not advance toward him, so, not daring to linger a second longer, he dashes back to the safety of his RV. No sooner has Devin hidden himself away than Kate rings his phone, informing him that she has just received some belongings left behind by Charlie and needs him to come back immediately. Devin heads down the mountain that very night and arrives at Kate's house, where she hands him a worn-out, ancient text. Kate has already skimmed through a portion of it, discovering that the book was authored by a man named Timothy. This Timothy turns out to be none other than Charlie's biological grandfather, and the contents recorded within this ancient tome detail the exact origins and dark history of the Church of Heavenly Light. The history of this church traces all the way back to the 1930s, when, due to internal friction, a massive schism occurred within mainstream Christianity, the most famous catalyst being the Brigham Young incident. Unable to achieve recognition from Orthodox institutions, Brigham Young led his flock of devout followers to Salt Lake City to establish a brand new church base. A number of believers whose ideologies closely aligned with Young's broke away from their original churches to join his expanding faction. Yet before long, this faction also fractured due to conflicting beliefs and dogmas, prompting a group of Puritans to abandon the fold and establish an entirely new church near Mount Shasta. However, following the establishment of this new church, bizarre anomalies began plaguing the community, with several followers undergoing terrifying physical transformations for reasons no one could explain. These grotesque-looking followers were labeled as the cursed ones by the church hierarchy and were promptly banished from the community. It wasn't until 1873 that an alchemist finally uncovered the sinister truth behind why these devotees were mutating into monsters. It turns out that a mind-bending portal exists right on the church's property, with the other side of this doorway linking directly to a hellish realm teeming with terrifying abominations. The rulers at the time firmly believed that the area on the other side of the portal is hell, and as long as they cross that gate, only the believers who do not turn into monsters are innocent, while those who do turn into monsters are the guilty ones. Consequently, anyone looking to join the church had to first step through the portal as an initiation test. As the number of mutated followers steadily multiplied over the years, these outcasts gradually consolidated their strength into a formidable faction. Refusing to accept that they were inherently sinful, the mutated devotees eventually triggered a violent conflict with the church. Reading through these ancient records, Devin instantly remembers the coordinates from the notebook, realizing that those 4 locations perfectly mirror the migration route the church took back in the day. Furthermore, the deformed individual he captured on his camera lens isn't an actual monster, but rather one of the enduring followers of this very church. But why on earth would these cult followers show up here in the Cuyamaca Mountains? Determined to unravel the mystery surrounding the origins of these devotees, Devin journeys back up to the mountain peak once again. However, the moment he reaches the midway point of the mountain, he is shocked to find that the massive shipping container has completely vanished, leaving the ground heavily scarred with fresh tire tracks. It is blindingly obvious that someone hauled the shipping container away during his brief absence. Just as Devin is scratching his head over this mystery, he notices a strange marker left directly underneath where the container used to sit. He digs up the marked patch of earth and uncovers a fully functional tablet buried inside. Yet when Devin powers on the device, he discovers that the local storage is loaded with several video logs filmed by Charlie before his untimely passing. After listening to Charlie's frantic descriptions in the footage, Devin feels completely bewildered, unable to fathom a single word of what his late friend claims, and even suspecting that the video logs might be totally fabricated. However, when he forwards the files to Marissa, a top-tier IT and data forensics expert for deep analysis, things take an even more mind-boggling turn. After running an analysis, Marissa confirms that the footage shows absolutely no signs of post-production editing, thereby proving that it was recorded directly by the camera capture system. Yet she notes that the actual mechanism recording these videos seems highly abnormal. Hearing Marissa's technical breakdown leaves Devin utterly frozen in shock, wondering what on earth could have captured the footage if it wasn't a standard camera. However, the true weirdness is only just getting started. Ever since that shipping container was towed away, those mutated cultists never show their faces around the campsite again. Suspecting that the devotees might be hiding out somewhere within a specific zone of the mountain, Devin kicks off an exhaustive search across the rugged wilderness to uncover any lingering clues. Deep within the heart of the mountain range, he hits pay dirt and stumbles upon a highly bizarre cave. Yet despite venturing several kilometers into the subterranean depths, he finds absolutely nothing of substance. Midway through his underground exploration, he suddenly finds it incredibly difficult to breathe, accompanied by a sharp, stabbing pain ripping through his skull. Quickly putting two and two together to realize that severe oxygen deprivation is setting in, he wastes no time and immediately backs out of the cave. But right as he stumbles out toward the entrance, he catches a glimpse of some sort of presence lingering right at the threshold. By the time Devin fully snaps back to his senses, he realizes he is already standing outside the entrance, and the night sky has completely blanketed the landscape. Shaking off the disorientation, he packs up his gear and prepares to head back to his RV first. But when he turns on the camera, intending to record his exploration process, he finds that a black pattern has appeared on his face. Before he can even process what is happening to him, a flood of surreal, disjointed visions violently invades his mind. In a semi-conscious daze, he visualizes himself entering a bizarre, ethereal dimension with a mysterious woman standing directly across from him.
I don't understand. Where am I?
You're in the Kayamakas.
But when Devin opens his eyes again, he finds himself right back inside the RV. Looking at his familiar surroundings, he lets out a sigh of relief, thinking that the terrifying ordeal is nothing more than a vivid nightmare. But when he turns on the camera, he finds that his face is completely covered in those black patterns. Staring at his own reflection on the screen, the grim reality sinks in for Devin as he realizes that none of it was a dream. Yet that is far from the most unsettling part, as those black veins seem to possess a malevolent psychic power that actively tampers with his cognitive functions and erases blocks of his memory. To prevent himself from completely forgetting these harrowing events, he begins using his camera to document every single waking moment. And that brings us right back to the chilling opening scene of the film. Having finished his desperate recording, Devin resolves to abandon his investigation entirely and flee this cursed place for good. But the very second he steps outside his vehicle, he is forced to witness yet another mind-shattering anomaly. Glancing at grotesque, otherworldly tentacles writhing in the distance, his mind is instantly bombarded with an onslaught of even more terrifying visions. He sees monsters, sees people floating in midair, and even witnesses abnormal spatial distortions. In just a matter of days, Devin completely loses his mind, becoming a totally different person. Yet just when Devin believes he is doomed to wither away and die trapped in the mountains, he suddenly senses an irresistible telepathic calling pulling at his psyche. Guided by this supernatural summons, he traces the signal back to an unusual cave deep in the wilderness. Deep within the cavern, he comes face to face with the mysterious woman from his visions once again, who patiently begins explaining the cosmic truth behind everything he has endured. It turns out the woman standing before him is not a human being in the truest sense. Millions of years ago, they share the earth alongside humanity. For some reason, their race gains intelligence long before humans do, going on to develop a massive civilization. But due to some uncontrollable forces, they are forced to migrate into the underground world. Although they leave the surface, their race does not meet its end, and they even become far more powerful than before. In just a matter of centuries, their cognitive abilities and technology far surpass humanity, to the point where they even build gates capable of crossing dimensions. These gates are placed across many locations on Earth, and the real reason the believers mutate is because they cross through these dimensional gates and suffer from mimetic contamination. Within that other dimension, human bodies react in entirely different ways, where some remain completely unaffected while others literally rot away. Confronted with the woman's explanation, Devin still finds it hard to swallow, unable to accept how a higher civilization could possibly exist on Earth. However, the woman offers no further explanation and instead looks off to the side. Devin follows her gaze, only to find Charlie, who ended his own life, surprisingly sitting right next to him. It turns out Charlie is actually the founder of the cult, gaining the ability to communicate with the woman after crossing through the gate. Charlie believes that if humans want to become powerful, they must depend on this race. So he makes a decision that goes against his ancestors, enshrining this species and willingly becoming their servant. And the reason Devin receives the footage in the first place is because of a clue Charlie deliberately leaves behind. After keeping himself going for centuries, Charlie's body has finally reached its absolute limit, meaning the cult needs a new leader, and Devin is the chosen successor. However, Devin has no desire to become their new servant, preferring death over staying with these bizarre creatures. Seeing Devin's resolute stance, the woman does not force the issue. But just as she is about to wipe Devin's memory, she discovers that he is actually projecting his consciousness, intending to expose everything he knows to all of humanity. To stop Devin, Charlie has no choice but to smash his head in. Fast forward a few months later. The police discover Devin's body and his video recordings inside the RV. The officers turn on the tablet and watch the footage saved inside. But right as they are analyzing the video, the lead investigator gets completely corrupted by the images on the screen. And that wraps up everything for the latest mockumentary, Tribe. So what do you guys think? Does a higher civilization really exist on Earth? Alright, that is it for today, and I will see you guys in the next one.